Morning, guys. Give me just a minute here. Trying to work out these new little gadgets they got. All right. Morning. I'll just give it a minute here. Morning, guys. It's good to see you. Good morning, Miss Jennifer. Hey, do you guys see the words across my face? I mean, I don't know how this thing works. Can you, when you look at it, are you seeing them across my face? Yay or nay? Because I can lower it down to where it's not across my face. Is that better? Or the other way? Well, that's not going to work. Oh, they are under? Okay, so this is fine? Alright. Oh, I can get rid of to the words? Okay.
The cereal that is making people seriously sick, that's the
Alright.
way.
Morning, guys. I had a question this weekend. Somebody was wanting me to just share what I meant when I was talking about couches. Okay, I started implementing this when I worked in the children's homes. I found that it was very helpful. And I actually teach parents how to do this. I actually teach facilities how to do this. When you see a child that is struggling, attitude, behaviors, you notice that they're slamming things or they're just rolling their eyes all the time, and they are different behaviors. You know your children, but you notice that something's not right. And they're not really vocalizing what they need from you. So allowing them to come to what I call is couches, where you invite them to come and sit down with you and have a one-on-one, heart-to-heart talk, and that nothing that they say to you during that time gets punished or gets consequences. So that allows them the freedom to repent if they've done something wrong and it's eating them up with guilt, and working through that. Now, you also need to know that I believe in natural consequences, okay? So the guilt that they're having, the bad morning that they're having, clearly they're struggling. So when you call your kids to couches, it doesn't necessarily have to be on the couch. I also encourage parents to take kiddos to places that they like to go to talk. Just allowing them to have that freedom to say, hey, Mom, I'm really struggling. And the fact that you notice that they're having a hard time really helps them open up to you. Now, if they're not ready to open up, just say, hey, you know what? Let's go to Starbucks and get a drink, okay? Turn the music on, start listening to some music, and say, you know, when that music's playing, you know, when I'm feeling discouraged, and you start talking to them. And you start relaying to them how you feel when you're upset. And then that breaks the ice for you to turn to the child and say, you know, I've noticed the last couple of days you seem kind of upset. Okay? And what you do is you break that ice to allow the child to talk to you. And say, remember, I'm going to call couches right now. So whatever's making you upset, if it's something that you've done or you feel like you need to tell me, there's not going to be punishment. There's not going to be consequences, because the natural consequences, they're feeling bad already. Okay, and if there's something that you can do to help them make things better. So I'm going to use an example. Okay, I had a kiddo in the juvenile facility, one of my kiddos, and I noticed that he was really down, or he wasn't talking to anybody, and he's usually a talker. I mean, you notice different behaviors. And I noticed that he really wasn't talking. He was isolating himself. And he was very vocal, very, he interjected with everybody. But for a couple days, he was very isolating himself, not talking to the other kiddos. So I pulled him aside and I said, hey, kiddo, I noticed you seem a little upset. Can we do what I call couches? And he's like, well, I don't know. Maybe. And I said, well, you know what? Why don't you just come sit over here with me? We're going to have, and I think I went and got a canned drink for him to drink. And I shared with him, sometimes people are struggling. Maybe they don't know what they're feeling. And I said, but I do notice that you're isolating yourself. I said, are you feeling uncomfortable? Has somebody made you feel uncomfortable? Breaking that ice. And he's like, well, and he goes, I'm not feeling uncomfortable. I feel guilty. And that's when I reminded him couches is where he can tell me anything that he needs to tell me to help him make it right. Okay? Because that, we go to God all the time and ask for forgiveness. And when people have done something wrong and they don't know how to make it right, it makes them feel guilty and they struggle with that. And so allowing a child to be able to say, hey, you know what, I did this. Well, apparently, it's kind of funny, and I had a really hard time not laughing, and I didn't laugh. I actually had to excuse myself and go to the bathroom, okay? Well, one of the kiddos had made him upset, and he went to the bathroom, and this kid was really big about expensive shampoos, and he was always bragging that his parents was buying $60 shampoo. When he went into the bathroom a couple days earlier when I noticed the behaviors were starting, he had taken that kiddo's shampoo and peed in it, in the bottle, okay? And it was all I could do. I was like, straight face. I didn't have a reaction. But he felt guilty about it because he was actually his friend. But he was so upset with him because he was jealous of the fact that he had all this expensive stuff and his parents was buying him all this expensive stuff, that he was jealous about it. And he felt really bad about it. But he didn't want to tell him he had done it. But this kiddo had washed his hair every single day with pee-pee shampoo. And he didn't know what to do, okay? So he came to me. He trusted me. I didn't want to betray his trust. You don't ever want to betray your children's trust, okay? Or a child that reveals things to you. Because they'll never talk to you again. With that promise that there's no retaliation or consequences in the sense of you're going to punish them. So what I did was I did a bathroom check that day, and I accidentally spilled this young man's shampoo. Of course, before I did it, I went and I made sure that I had bought shampoo to replace it. I know it was an expensive expense, but I told the child for the consequence that, he would have to, the natural consequence of that was to remember that, not to do stuff like that again, because that's an expensive consequence. Well, he paid for the shampoo. He actually gave me the money and told me to go buy it. So he had already prepared for the consequence of making sure this got replaced. So, but I didn't tell the kiddo that he'd been shampooing his hair with pee-pee shampoo. Okay, I promised not to tell. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't even tell the other staff. Okay, but the thing was, he trusted me enough to let me know. And then once he realized, I helped him take care of it. I helped him make it right because he was embarrassed about it, and he was sorry that he had done it. And he just felt really bad about it. But he did it because he was jealous. Okay, and he realized he had gone too far, but he didn't know how to make it right. So trusting in me to help him make it right without embarrassing him even further. You don't need to embarrass your children. He was already embarrassed enough. I helped him take care of it. Okay? And so, allowing your children to express what they need. Sometimes it's plain and simple. They feel guilty about bullying somebody at school. I've had kiddos do that. I felt really bad. Everybody was making fun of this kiddo. And I, in turn, bullied as well. And so allowing them to confess, have a time and opportunity to confess, helps children just like we do when we go to God and we say, God, I did this and this and this, please forgive me. Children do the same thing. The problem is they don't have an outlet for that. Okay? They feel bad, they want to tell you, and they keep secrets. We don't want our kids keeping secrets. So when you see a behavior, usually there's a symptom to a problem, which is behaviors. Or not necessarily behaviors, attitudes. When you notice that they're depressed, or if you notice they're weepy, or if you notice that they slamming doors, or you have got to allow your children the opportunity to have a clean slate. I do that with my girls sometimes. If I know that they've done something wrong, clearly I already know something's wrong, okay? Allowing them to have couches, okay? Whether you take them out or you actually sit down on the couch and talk with them, you say, look, here's your opportunity to get a clean slate, clean your heart and soul of anything that I might need to know, or that I might need to help you problem solve. This is the time. This is the time to make it right, and let me help you make it right. Okay, help them problem solve, because a lot of times they really don't know what to do, and allowing them to do that helps them with the ability when they're adults to problem solve. Why? Because you help them do it when they were kiddos. It don't matter how age. My daughter that I made a video with the other day, my little 6-year-old, we do that. We do couches. Sometimes she gets upset. She gets upset at her sisters, or she gets upset that her autistic brother won't play with her right, and she struggles with the feelings, and she just wants to sit down and talk about it. She loves that. She loves sitting down, and she'll even come to me, Mommy, I need couches. Okay, drop what you're doing and go do couches. Why? Because if they're coming to you to actually open up to you, and then they've requested couches, you make sure you drop everything that you are doing at that moment in time and make them important. Okay? They're your children. They are important. Okay? And make sure that they know. Now, if you're right in the middle of something really, really important and you can't drop it at that very second, you give them a timeline. Honey, give me about 15 minutes. And you make sure it's 15 minutes. Okay? Because they want to believe in your word. Okay, make sure you help your children believe in what you say. So you give yourself a timeline, and you go within 15 minutes, and you sit down with them. What's on your mind, kiddo? I love you. Whatever it is, we can get through this, and you help them problem solve. Okay, why? Because if you don't help them at a very young age problem solve, then when they become adults, they're not going to know how to do it. Okay, and it's actually biblical. In the Bible, it talks about if you have an ought with somebody, you go to that person and you talk to that person. Okay, and if that doesn't work, after you've gone by yourself to talk to that person, you go and get somebody and bring them to help talk to that person. So that's actually biblical. Couches is biblical. If you got a problem with somebody, you got an ought with somebody, or you're struggling with somebody, sit down with them, talk to them, help them come up with a solution or a problem to the solution, whatever the issue is. That is what couches is. It's to help build a relationship with your children that allows them to open up to you without feeling like they're going to be punished, or you're going to judge them. You don't judge them. You don't yell at them. You don't say, well, I'm disappointed in you. You don't make comments like that. Tell them you're proud of them of coming to you. Tell them you're proud of them of admitting their problems. Tell them that you're proud that they came to you and trusted in you, and then help them through that problem. Okay? And they'll come to you with so many other things. Okay? And I know how parents, they get so busy, but make this opportunity. Allow this time to allow your children to have that time to open up to you. Open that door for them. Doesn't necessarily have to be on couches, okay? I call it couches. I can do a circle up. Hey, let's circle up, guys. When I was in the group homes, let's circle up. So-and-so, I noticed, you seem really upset today. Is there anything that we, as a group, can help you? Is there anything that you need? I want. What do you need? How do you feel? Allowing them to express that is a key in helping children learn how to acknowledge what they're feeling, how to acknowledge what they need. They may be upset over something they don't understand. simply somebody looked at me wrong. And that person that they're claiming looked at them wrong goes, really? Because I don't have a problem with you. I absolutely did not know that I gave you a look. Okay? And when they acknowledged that, that was teaching them that biblical principle. You have an ought with somebody, you go to that person. So when I noticed in group homes, when I would work, I'd be the single staff with 12 boys and never have an incident. Why? Because I noticed the behaviors. I'd circle them up and I'd say, look, I notice you're having a problem. Is there anything that we can do to help you? Well, I need him to stop looking at me and mean mugging me. And I'd say, well, who's him? And he'd give the name, and I'd say, well, so-and-so, are you mean mugging him? And he'd be like, I don't think so. If I am, I'm not meaning to. And so the kiddo was upset because he perceived that this other kid was mean mugging him. But he really wasn't. He wasn't meaning to. And I said, so what you need him to do is let him understand that you're not meaning to mean mug him, and then maybe separate a little bit today, since he seems upset today. So allowing them to express that really helps kiddos, okay? And that helps in your homes as well. So allowing kids to have that open door policy. It's an open door policy, okay? I like to call it couches because it's more of a home-like environment, and kiddos can reflect to that. And, it can be before bedtime. Hey, is there anything that you need to talk about, or anything that I can help you with? Helping them problem solve, guys. Because the problem is when they grow up, they're not going to know how to problem solve, okay? And, and that's where the natural consequence comes in now. They've already acknowledged that they've done something wrong, and they want to make it right, okay? Help them problem solve to make things right. And it may not necessarily be guilt or anything. They may be struggling with something personal, or struggling with, I feel overweight, I feel this, I feel that. Well, would you like me to get you signed up for a gym class? Or would you like to take karate class? Or would you like to join the YMCA for free swimming classes? Allowing them to have options and allowing them to voice what they need, and then helping them solve that need, okay? Would you like for me to go on a walk with you every morning when you get up? Offering them things, that opens the door for more communication, more one-on-one with your child. And now remember, you're a parent, they're a child. You're not their best friend, okay? But allowing them to come to you, they will come to you when it's the most important thing, and they won't withhold it from you, okay? That's what this does. It opens up the line of communication with your children. Does that make sense, people? Have I explained it good enough for you guys to understand? Any thumbs up? Or was that confusing? I try to explain it the best way I know how. Usually I teach people by showing them by examples what it looks like. But I hope that was how I explained it. Sometimes I struggle in explaining. I do better at showing. But it's very important, guys. Allow the door of communication open with your children. Allow the doors of communication of, hey, I see you're upset. This is the time. Put it on the table. Let me help you. Even if you've done something wrong, no consequences, no punishment. This is your time to make the slate clean. This is the time to come clean, okay? And allow them to do that, okay? Because we all make mistakes. We all do. We're human. And allowing your kids to admit they're human and that they make mistakes is the key in teaching them that life lesson, that things are not sometimes as easy as it comes across, okay? And, hey, I made a mistake. I did this, okay? And allowing them to do so, okay? That is the key in this, guys. Open up that line of communication with your kiddos. It's a great opportunity to allow your children, which is weird. My children have told, these groups that I go to, they'll tell other kiddos, hey, you sound like you need couches with Miss Grace, or you need to go do couches. Why? Because they love them. They love the opportunity to make things right, just like anybody else. We just want to do right and be pleasing, and when we make mistakes, we just want to make things right, okay? okay? And allowing your kids to have that without the consequences, because they've already had the natural consequence of feeling guilty, okay? And they want to make things right. Allow them to problem solve. Help them problem solve. Don't do it for them, though, okay? Help them problem solve the issue, what they're struggling with, okay? It could be anything. And you can do this with adults. I actually do this with adults as well. I say, look, I do a thing called couches. Would you like to try that with me? Okay, it doesn't necessarily have to be with your child. Okay, if you're in group homes or you work with children, and you notice this, and you open up that line of communication with that kiddo and allowing them to know that anything that they tell you, you're not going to go run. Now, here's the thing: I do tell the kiddos that aren't my children that if they want to come talk with me, I am a mandate reporter. So if they do express to me abuse or sexual abuse or anything like that, that isn't something I can keep a secret. But I help them do the right thing and tell them the right people. And then I ask them, I actually get their permission so I don't betray their trust. Look, this is something terrible. This is something that needs to be known, and allowing them to allow you to help them do the right thing is the key. Okay, guys? Well, I got to get my son ready for school today. Looks like we're going to have another rainy day, which is good because we could really use the rain. God bless you guys. I hope I explained it well enough. If you have any questions, though, feel free to call me or text me, instant message me, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. I think tomorrow I'm going to answer the question about how to establish a chore chart, okay, and how to implement that with the rewards and consequence. So, it's great talking to you guys today. I hope you have a blessed day, and God bless you, and you have a great day. Bye.